Well, hello again. Now I apologise at the start for the lighting. I'd got about 30 seconds into recording inside the stadium, and yeah, they turned off the lights. So it's pitch black inside there now, and to be honest, I'd imagine Eddie Howe and a large section of supporters are probably sat in a darkened room right now too. So I'm bringing you these reflections from the steps of the Gallagher end. I hope the expats, I know you enjoy the different scenery from around the city. Well, here is the intersection of Barrack Road. It might make for more pleasant viewing than the last 10 minutes did of what happened inside the stadium. Now, I said on Friday I expected a hell of a lot to unpick from that game, and wow, wasn't there just. It was entertaining, it was brilliant, it was a wonderful advert for the theatre of the Premier League. Not that many of a Newcastle persuasion will probably be feeling like that right now, but yeah, a lot to work through, and as well I've got to revisit an article I wrote this morning with regards to expectation. Now that really is a dirty word, isn't it? We'll come to that at the end, and we'll explore what I meant by that piece and the reaction to it, and where I think Newcastle are in terms of sort of expectation and where they're at right now with regards competing with the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City, because today probably was informative in that regard. But where do I start on that? Well, let's go back to the start, probably sensible. And yeah, the first 6 minutes in which I thought Newcastle started brilliantly. It was clear from the off that Anthony Gordon was on an on day. Eddie decided to keep faith with the same 11. I was surprised by that. I thought there was scope for a little bit of change in the front three. I thought perhaps Gordon would have gone to the right and Harvey Barnes would have come in down the left, but not so. And Eddie's decision was justified. Listen, it was, that those players during the opening half hour, I thought Newcastle were excellent playing with that intensity, and it was everything I expected. I expected Newcastle to beat Liverpool today, and after what was it, 29 minutes when the lead 1-0 and Virgil van Dijk has just been sent off, that result looked never in doubt really. It didn't play out that way. I'll explore the reasons as to why. But first of all, the start. Trent Alexander-Arnold, for me, after 6 minutes, this should be down in number. He's petulantly throwing the ball away for the first yellow. Within 60 seconds, he then takes out Anthony Gordon just in front of the dugouts. And was it a second yellow? Well, if he's not already on the first yellow, or if it happens later in the game, I think yes. I think he is booked, and I think he goes off. But because, and this is wrong, for me it's wrong, but it does happen, it does exist. Referees are, reluctant to give 2 yellows in such a short space of time, especially when it's so early in the game. But for me, Alexander-Arnold deliberately broke up a Newcastle attack, and they should have been down to 10 men after 6 minutes. As it was, we had to wait until like I say, just shy of the half hour for that to be the case, by which point Newcastle are up to 1-0 up, and I think Liverpool probably were wishing Alexander-Arnold had been sent off, given his part in the first goal when the ball just rolls under his foot. Anthony Gordon's away, and in the clear. And Anthony Gordon, the second half of last season, following his arrival from Everton, I think he misses that chance. I think he did miss one similar in that match against Southampton, but for me, never in any doubt, given the confidence he's in, everything I've said about him from what I've seen during the summer. And it's a great finish. Newcastle go 1-0 up, they're already in control, they're playing well, and then Van Dijk is sent off. And I think I tweeted at the time, for whatever reason today, we were robbed of our screens in the press box. I only saw one quick replay on a phone, on a feed, and from the angle I saw, it looked like Virgil van Dijk had taken the ball, and I think Gary Neville, Gary Lineker, there was a few others who said the same. I've seen different replays now, and I was wrong. That initial take was wrong. Van Dijk is trying to cover for some lazy defending. He takes Isaac and he takes the ball. Now he does subsequently take the ball, but not before he's taken the man. It's a red card. It is a red card. And I've seen Jamie Carragher's argument that, well, it wasn't a goal scoring opportunity maybe. Now, Alexander Isak is through on goal. Alexander Isak doesn't have to be through on goal for it to be a goal scoring opportunity. He's scored far harder chances. So for me, that argument holds absolutely no weight whatsoever. And from that point, now, did the game change? Not immediately. No, I still think Newcastle did okay. But certainly they were better against 11 than they were against 10, and Eddie Howe said as much himself. And I thought they finished the first half a little bit ragged in terms of the last 5 minutes. Liverpool came into it, but nonetheless they go into the second half, and on 50 minutes, and this is the chance for me where I think things do change slightly. On 50 minutes, it's a brilliant team move as well, which ends up with Joe Linton on the left. He pulls it back, and Miguel Almiron puts it over the bar from what, 8-9 yards out, and it's just that little bit of quality, that little bit of composure that Almiron can lack. And from that moment, and Jurgen Klopp makes some changes 10 minutes or so later, brings on Núñez, Jota and Harvey Elliott, and from then I honestly thought Liverpool were the better team, even though Newcastle still did have 1 or 2 openings to kill it off. And you know, the last half hour, 25 minutes, almost it looked like 10v10. And on the subject of changes, you know, in the 71, 72 minutes, Eddie Howe brings off Anthony Gordon and Sandro Tonali, and that for me, the Gordon substitution in particular, is a mistake. Now, why do I say that? Gordon is playing well. He's the scorer of the goal, and he's up against a player in Alexander Arnold who was both booked and spooked. And you could see Alexander Arnold breathe, you know, a sigh of relief. Alexander Arnold seemed to have more belief in himself after Gordon went off. And you know, the substitution of Tonali, I thought Tonali was playing well. I was less surprised by that because he'd given the ball away a couple of minutes earlier, and I'd seen Eddie turn to the bench, and from that point on I got the impression Tonali was going to come off. Sean Longstaff comes on. I've got less quarrel with that change, but I think taking off a player in Gordon who was playing with such confidence, a couple of the changes felt like substitutions for the sake of it. Newcastle sort of duly, they lost all shape really, and purpose. And while it should have been them pushing for a second goal, they were arguably doing neither for a period. They neither looked like scoring nor defending the lead, and they just became, it was so unrecognisable from what we expect of an Eddie Howe team. And twice they've had to rely on against 10 men. Last-ditch interventions. There's one from Joe Linton, and there's one from Sven Botman. And I was sat with guys in the press box. You know, we said a Liverpool goal really is coming here, and I was just so surprised by the manner, like I say, of Newcastle's performance during that period. And so it proved. And Sven Botman gets himself in a little bit of a mess. I find it hard to apportion too much blame, to be honest with you. And Núñez goes through. It's a brilliant finish low, and then off the bottom of the post. Could Nick Pope have done better? Well, Núñez has put it in the one place that makes it hardest for Pope, but he probably, on reflection, I think he will look at it and think he could get down a little bit quicker. And then in the 93rd minute, by now, Newcastle, the 11 men against the 10. I thought the 11 were hanging on to a point, and Eddie as well intimated himself as much afterwards. And Bruno Guimaraes, there's a lot of focus on him today going into the game after everything that happened and was said and was tweeted and deleted during the week. And he loses the ball for the goal, doesn't he? He's sloppy in possession in his own half. Salah puts it in behind Dan Burn. Núñez has got a head start on him. Dan Burn's never going to recover that ground. And Newcastle were exposed, as they had looked for a good 20-25 minutes. And Núñez again with a brilliant, confident finish. And by that point, I honestly thought Liverpool's victory was deserved. And the areas the goals and the chances come from, for me, and this is a wider point, and I said it last week, didn't I? I think Newcastle are crying out for a 6, and I thought they should have gone out and bought a 6, a real defensive-minded midfielder, a destroyer, a destructor of the opposition who sits in that domain. Now, they didn't have it there today, and those chances have come, the Liverpool chances, the Liverpool goals, have come from that area. And are Bruno and are Tonali too like-minded, that Newcastle are missing that protection of a back four that does lack recovery pace when balls are played in behind? I think so. And as much as I think Sandro Tonali has been a very good signing, again today I thought he was good. Was it the right signing? Let's wait and see on that. You know, I think there are one or two question marks there in terms of the opportunity cost of signing. What else could they have had, or what else did they need more? Now, on the subject of signings, Sven Botman's gone off with what looked a nasty looking injury. He passed down in front of the press box there, and he almost looked in tears, to be honest with you. And we asked Eddie afterwards, you know, will that force you to go out into the transfer market? And we'll have to wait and see on that front. But if the injury is serious, then I think it should do. But it begs the question: do they go out and buy a right-sided centre half or a left-sided centre half? So we don't know that, and hopefully we'll bring you news very quickly on the severity of Sven Botman's injury. But you cannot get away from the fact that this was an opportunity missed for Newcastle. And it goes back to, we'll bring in the article I wrote this morning, which I'll put on screen in the Mail on Sunday. Now, there was an angry reaction to this on social media among some, and I understand why, and it's because of the historical connotation and the association with the word expectation. Now, if you'd read the article, the piece in no way, shape or form is an attack or even references, fan delusion or that historical use of the word expectation. Now, I've argued for years against that there was no feeling of a God-given right to success up here. Absolutely not. The expectation I use in the piece is more the wider expectation, evidenced by the fact that Newcastle are good now. That's the point I make. There is an expectation that they should beat Liverpool, and that's because they're a very good team. And for the best part of however many minutes there today, it looked as if they would do, and that would have been the right outcome. Now the piece I wrote is supported by the fact that the bookmakers had Newcastle favourites to win the game ahead of Liverpool. I listened to a couple of podcasts in the week. Certainly the True Faith podcast had 4 predictions on there, all home victories, with an aggregate score of 9-2, I think. Listened to another national podcast. All of the independent, unbiased contributors on there had a home win. I thought Newcastle would win. I don't think you can have owners who declare they want to have the best club, the number one club in the world, and you can't then go into home games against the team who finished 5th in the Premier League last year. Newcastle were better than Liverpool last year, and not expect to win. And I think that's right. And if you'd asked supporters in the pub before the game, I think the majority would have said that they thought Newcastle would win, and that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's an indication of where Newcastle are at right now. But as it showed today, is it a reminder that they're not quite ready to turn that confidence, that wider confidence, and that promise and everything they've achieved over the last 18 months, and that how are they yet ready to turn that into beating the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City? And perhaps not, what does it need for that? Does it need a little bit more in terms of them really believing that they're a big club? A season in the Champions League, feeling they really do belong up there in the top 4. Does it need more signings? We don't know. I don't think so. I think they've got enough right there, and I think they've got the manager and the coach and staff and everything around it to be beating Liverpool. And that, to me, is why today I thought it was a massive opportunity missed, especially given the manner in which the game played out. And I think Eddie himself would be disappointed with a lot of what happened in terms of his own performance, and certainly that of his team, who, like I said earlier, in the end became unrecognisable. And there is a little bit of pressure now, a little bit more scrutiny going down to Brighton. And certainly when you look at the reaction on social media, and I would never take this as an absolute reflection, because certainly inside the stadium there was nothing but support until the end, and there was no booing on full time. But there is an angry reaction on social media. But for me, listen, I think they're very much allowed last weekend's below par performance and defeat against Manchester City, and they are allowed this one. I think it's more a case of regret and disappointment that a team, for me, are good enough to do better than they did in the second half there today, haven't done so. And yeah, I think we'll leave it there for now. Like I say, there was a hell of a lot to unpick. It was thoroughly enjoyable as a guy who sat there writing a match report. In the end, you sat there wondering what to leave out. Positives for Newcastle: Anthony Gordon again. I thought Sandro Tonali was good in the manner in which they started the game. Eddie Howe was right when he said it was a very good performance. I thought it was, but after that it certainly wasn't. So yeah, guys, thank you again for watching. I do apologise about the light out here. It's not ideal. We'll be back next week. I will be down at Brighton. Like I say, I'm down in the Daily Mail office the back end of the week presenting the transfer show, so I will bring you my reflections on the window from then, and we might just have a little bit more movement from a Newcastle perspective, bearing in mind that injury to Sven Botman. So thank you again for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, and we'll speak again later in the week. Okay, take care, bye bye.